Hello ladies, gentlemen and the rainbow in between. Welcome to the Body Count, where we calculate the deaths, demises and kills of various action and thriller films. And for today's episode we are looking at Charlie's Angels 2019. Elizabeth Banks' second directorial feature after Pitch Perfect 2, this movie serves as a sort of reboot for the franchise while maintaining the continuity of both the TV series and the McGee movies. With less flash and ass than its predecessors, this film allows its angels to develop beyond token characteristics and their love lives, thanks also to another engaging trio of Townsend Agency recruits. However, it suffers from underpowered action scenes, lack of fresh ideas, and slightly grating feminism. Now, I've got nothing against action heroines. Heck, I'd love to see a quality, kick-ass female-led action franchise. And I get a kick out of masculine assholes getting their comeuppance, courtesy of women. But even I got tired of it watching this movie, and judging by the low box office, so did a lot of people. Overestimating the popularity and audience of Charlie's Angels was another reason for its box office performance. Relying on an established brand can only get you so far. After all, this isn't like the 90s or early 2000s anymore. You can't be like the Spice Girls and just sell things on girl power. Raise the bar, be smarter. A woman can be a badass without the need to cram in social commentary. Now, to be fair, I don't dislike this movie. I just think it's okay and could have been better. And for those who generally enjoyed it, it's completely fine with me. I can understand. Anyway, let's count some bodies. The movie opens in Rio de Janeiro, where Kristen Stewart's Sabina Wilson is talking with smuggler Johnny Smith, played by Chris Pine.
I think women can do anything.
Well, I mean, just because they can doesn't mean they should, right?
They get a little tied up, which serves as a distraction for the rest of her team, led by former MI6 agent Jane Cano. If that face doesn't seem familiar, that's no surprise, since British actress Ella Balinska has only a handful of credits to her name, and most of them are either shorts or appearances in a couple of TV shows. Though I do have to say she does a confident job in her first lead performance.
Bosley!
Evening, Angels.
John Bosley's back, now played by Sir Patrick Stewart. While Boz deals with Johnny, the Angels head into a girl power-packed opening titles. It's Hamburg 1 year later, and we're introduced to programmer Elena Hofflin, played by Naomi Scott. She's speaking with her superior Nat Faxon's Peter Fleming about her project Callisto not being entirely safe. He disagrees though, and she shouldn't do anything about it, because he's a big man boss, and she's just a smart woman who should know her place. Secretary Ingrid, however, suggests that a card Elena dropped might be of some help to her. Bosley lands in LA, where he's ambushed by Banks' Rebecca Bosley and all the little Bosleys for his retirement party, including a nice trip down memory lane. Since John helped take the Townsend Agency international, the name Bosley is now a rank in the organisation, with Rebecca the first former angel to hold the position. Even Charlie's here, now voiced by Robert Clotworthy, best known as Jim Raynor from the StarCraft series. Cheers! At the marketing release for Callisto, we are introduced to the company's top dog, Alexander Brock, played by former tribute Sam Claflin. It also provides an exhibition of the system as a great source of energy. So Peter, are you going to mention any issues with Callisto?
It can be manufactured in pastel colors for the ladies.
You're gonna die. In Paris, Jane is training with her mentor, Edgar Bosley, played by Jaime Honsu. Then Sabina arrives in the girls' first meeting since the Rio Job, because Edgar needs their help with a client. The client being our dear Hofflin. She needs their help to whistleblow the Callisto problem, and has a flash drive with the evidence to prove it. But Jane notices a menacing typewriter that types out nonsense and has a convenient mirror, so she takes affirmative action. They engage in a short but solid fight before she splits with the assassin in pursuit, with both sides having bullets to spare. In the previous films, producer Drew Barrymore made it a cardinal rule that the Angels would use no guns at all, but here that's obviously no longer the case, with no shortage of firearms in use. One of the bullets catches Edgar though, just as the assassin rams the gang into a river. Kano is not clear, but is too late to save poor Edgar. The assassin escapes while Jane rescues Elena, but they lose the flash drive in the process. The girls are licking their wounds when Rebecca shows up offering hugs. Elena's foreseeably shaken that someone was paid to kill her. After all, it's a whole new world that's not always shining, shimmering, splendid. They are unable to get an ID on the assassin. However, they do later learn that his name is Hodak, or Mr. Hodak, and he's played by Jonathan Tucker, best known for films like The Virgin Suicides and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Hoffman explains that the Callisto system could be hacked into and used to remotely kill people with an EMP.
An electromagnetic pulse.
Right, like a brain seizure, essentially.
Just perfect to assassinate someone without a trace of evidence. Ms. Bosley decides that they now need to break in and steal the 7 Callisto prototypes before they cause any harm, which does lead to the most creative set piece of the movie. Needing to get past security led by this jerk Ralph.
And don't forget to smile, yeah?
They pull a triple clone trick to send the guards in all directions, plus some close combat, metaphor for woman's invisibility, and Jane flirting with Noah Centineo's Langston, who was seen earlier getting tricky with Elena. She also deoxygenated a guy's brainstem, but she says he'll be fine. So not a good day for Susan Olsen. Unfortunately, 6 of the prototypes are gone, taken by Mr. Fleming. On the brighter side though, Elena was able to obtain one. Sabina makes it out, but the other 2 aren't so lucky, so Elena programs her device to short-circuit the door. Ralph turns up though, and despite Elena's attempts to save him, gets short-circuited as well. Maybe he survived. I mean, they did mention earlier in a similar situation a technician got away with just a bit of brain damage. No, he's definitely kaput. Next stop is Berlin, where we meet the team's guru and weapons man, Saint, played by Mexico's Luis Gerardo Mendez. We also learn that Sabina was an heiress whose abandonment issues led to a life of crime before Charlie bailed her out and recruited her. I like all 3 lead actresses in this movie, but I'm going to give a quick special mention to Kristen Stewart, who's come a long way from her spider monkeying days, with her character's offbeat sexiness exuding far more confidence than, say, her turn in Snow White and the Huntsman, where I felt she was rather struggling at times. Oh, Fleming has landed in Istanbul, by the way. Later, Rebecca meets with a mysterious lady.
What about Elena Hoffman?
I think you know what to do.
Meanwhile, Bosley finds a tracker inside him, courtesy of...
Someone who knows I'm onto her.
Mysterious. We visit the closet of Easter eggs and weapons, including a rifle which fires non-lethal tranq darts. I stress, non-lethal. It's off to Istanbul, where Kano finds an old contact of hers, Fatima, who she had failed and thus was the reason she left MI6. Jane promises that this time it'll be different, and wins her over with some supplies for her clinic. Thanks to Fatima, they track down Fleming and bug his phone, which informs them that he's selling Callisto at the Turkish Derby. It's off to the races then for Smarty Spice, Serious Spice, Sexy Spice, and Supportive Spice. Smarty spots Fleming, and alongside him is a familiar foe.
If you think you're killing him before I kill him, I'll kill you first.
The shot misses though, so it's time to GTFO. Sabina jockeys to get a tracker on the SUV, which leads the Angels to a stone quarry. They then proceed to non-fatally dispose of the guards before Elena locks the bad guys in as the buyer makes his entrance.
It's Australian Johnny.
Yes, it's the crazy rich Asian Aussie himself, now working for a secret employer. Everything seems to be cushy until Johnny requests a demonstration to show the device works, but since Peter is a credit-claiming imbecile, he gets a bullet to the dome instead. This development apparently makes Rebecca scarper. Now without backup, Kano takes out Smith's men with more tranks, but one of them takes a nasty fall. A gunfight ensues, but the only person I see getting killed is this guy. Elena faces this Saddam fellow and actually does quite well despite her inexperience. During the fight though, the door opens allowing Johnny to go down under to escape. Outside, Jane pursues Hodak, with both ending up in a precarious position. Not as precarious as Sabina and the Goon, however. Hoffman tries to help but is too late. Thus Jane is forced to let Hodak escape and pulls Sabina to safety. The other guy meets a crushing, unseen fate, while the last goon is finished off by Jane. The Angels regroup and postulate that Rebecca might be working for the other side, noting that she wouldn't be the first Angel to have turned. Referencing Demi Moore's bitch Madison from Full Throttle, a bomb is set off though Elena survives. Rebecca appears but is shot by John, who takes our girl to safety. Jane's still breathing as well and brings an unconscious Sabina to Fatima.
I can't lose it too.
Of course she's still alive because, again, plot armor. Saint arrives with the also alive Rebecca because, surprise, Bosley's the mastermind.
I've been tracking him for weeks. When he landed in Istanbul, I knew I needed to get to him before he got to you.
She and Charlie figured out that Bosley has been trying to build his own network using criminals like Johnny and Hodak. Doesn't sound any worse than his leadership of the CIA. In Chamonix, at Brock's compound, Elena has been held in a lovely red number and a dog collar. I'm sure it's something about the oppression and treatment of women. Bosley wants her to give him access to Callisto, but she's not very receptive to the idea. Meanwhile, the Angels have rolled in and are here to strut their stuff. Alexander enters and demands to know why Elena's still alive. You see, it was Brock, not Fleming, that ordered her assassination. Boz is his global security chief, but we know who's really in charge. Brock's permission obtained, Bosley next employs a bit of leverage to convince Elena. She reluctantly concedes and is rewarded with an unfriendly little present. Earlier, the girls messed about with a safe, setting off an alarm which Hodak went to investigate. He runs into Jane and they engage in a decent if forgettable fight. It ends with Jane tossing Hodak off a balcony onto a convenient ice sculpture. I'll let Jane make the obvious joke here.
I think he finally got the point.
Meanwhile, Sabina finds Elena. But what about the impending EMP?
I just programmed it to light up and make noises.
Oh, okay. Good Boz takes on bad Boz, but he gets the upper hand. He gives the order to enter, when the lights turn off and on before suddenly Brock and the baddies topple like dominoes, courtesy of angels you may have seen throughout the movie. Smith's also switched sides. Bosley proclaims that he made this agency what it was, and should have taken over command after Charlie's death. For those who are new to my show, I don't include any deaths or kills that occur before the events of a movie, unless we get some sort of proper introduction to the character. Therefore, since it's already been established that this film has the same continuity as the rest of the Charlie's Angels franchise, I'm going to have to put old Charlie Townsend on the count.
You thought you made us, we made you.
We trusted
Good
you, dick.
I was right in the middle of my speech. Sorry.
To round things up, Charlie's now a woman, more specifically Jacqueline Smith's Kerry Garrett, recovered from being a Force ghost. Jane and Langston are a couple, Brock's been arrested, and Elena has a cameo-led training montage to become an angel by receiving a special tattoo.
Give me my wings.
So how many mean men fell foul of our lovely angels? Let's head over to the breakdown and figure it out. In total, 8 guys died in Charlie's Angels 2019, more than double the 2000 version, but still far less than Full Throttle. And with a runtime of an hour 54 minutes, that means there was a death on average every 14.25 minutes. The Magnum Bullet Award will go to the sharp end of Mr. Hodak. And the damp squib will go to Charlie, who died as he lived, off screen. Well, that does it for this episode of The Body Count. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.